You're listening to the Iterators of the Imperium.
Hi, I'm MEZ, and I'm here with my lovely co-host Ryan. He's over there, and you're listening to, the Iterators of the Imperium podcast with a new segment, exploring the galaxy. So yeah, we know we've been on kind of a break for what is it, a month, 2 months?
I think it's closer to 3 at this point.
I mean, just quick status update. So Ryan's got a house.
Yeah.
Hey,
Bought my
he's
first
grown
house.
up. He's becoming a real adult now.
Yeah.
You'd love to see it. But yeah, Ryan, do you wanna walk us through the concept we're going through with the exploring the galaxy segment?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, what my thinking with this was, we've done a lot of looking at a storyline or a faction or whatever, but when we do that, what we're doing here is this is the galaxy as a whole, right? And there's maybe 12 planets in this entire thing that we've really talked about in any depth, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like there's so much to this. There's so much scale to this whole Warhammer thing that we need to kind of fill in some of this space so you have an idea of what's going on in the galaxy as a whole, or at least in less scattered sections of it. So in this this section that we're going to be doing, I don't know what the term is for it. We are more going to be looking at areas of space that have a conjoining storyline rather than one planet, one group, one person, whatever. You with me?
Yeah.
So I've got 3 options for you today. And my plan is to just keep adding new options to the list for you to choose as we go. So we might get 10 choices into this and still have one of the ones that was available here. You with me?
Could we do a thing here, though, for the listeners? I think we could, for the loyal listeners, we know we're not that many, but we're strong. I think we could get them abroad as well, if you give options as well, so it's not just up to me.
Do you know? Absolutely. Yeah. Anyone who would like to have a say on this, you are welcome to comment on Spotify or YouTube as you see fit, with your opinion on what we should do next. So we will take that into account. Do not worry. So would you like to know the options we have for today?
Yes, sir. Lay it on me.
Right, 3 options for today. All right, we have the Tau Empire, which is down here. This little section here is the Tau Empire. Because we've mentioned the Tau, but we've never really looked at them, right? So they're way down here at the bottom right. We have the Halo Scar, which, if we come up here, see the Halo stars here? Right? The Halo stars is a big range of stars that circles part of the galaxy. The Halo Scar is a warp rift in the middle of it that no one can get past. And the last option, let me just check this. Oh God, my lights are getting in the way of everything. Yes, the last option I think is somewhere around here. I could be wrong. I'm probably looking in the wrong place. The last option is the Pariah Nexus, which is right on the border of this great rift here that cuts the galaxy in half. I'm probably looking at the total wrong place. I'll find it eventually. Bear with.
I mean, for the first episode, I will have to, come with a topic because, well, we can't get comments.
Exactly. We could just fake one. Quickly, go type one. Make a fake account.
No,
type in a comment.
I just got a DM, by the way, Ryan, from one of our loyal fans, from X Warhammer Nova XXX.
That said, that's
too many X's. I don't like it.
That sounds funny. I know, right? What this fans base is, that's crazy. But they said the Tau because, well, quite frankly, it's also what I know the best. I can't say that. That's a weird word. Technologically advanced, right? It's those people, right?
Yep, that's the ones.
Yeah. I remember. I think I have actually talked about the Tau before.
I think you have, yes. I think we did a bit where you had to try and explain the Tau to me.
Yeah, it didn't go well. Actually, it went well. No, I can't remember. It was alright, I guess. I mean, I can still remember some stuff.
All right. Tau Empire, good. That's fine by me. That works out great. So I just want to point on it, right? See, the Tau Empire is just in a little circle. It's kind of like trapped in here.
Yeah. Over there.
Stop
that
wiggling your nose at it, you freak. Yeah, so there's this little like circle that makes up the Tau Empire, and there's a few worlds outside of it. Just a little scattering of like 5 worlds outside of it that are like out with this standard circle of the Tau Empire, which we will get into. And I also want to point out it's right on this, like on the border with the realm of Ultramar, which is obviously the Ultramarines' home worlds. So it is like right on the Imperium's doorstep, the Tau Empire, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not a great place for them to be in terms of like luck, but you know, such is life.
Such is life. What can you do?
Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna start with the Tau Empire. This is the question. So the Tau were originally discovered by humanity in M35. So year 35,000, somewhere in there, they were discovered by humanity.
That's kind of late, isn't it?
It's pretty late on, yeah. This is the thing, is that the Tau never actually became part of the storyline until really late on, until like really modern day stuff.
Yeah.
Which I don't think most like new fans realize that they're actually a really new concept in it. They're not very well developed and they don't have a huge amount of storyline yet because they're really new. I think it's like part of this attempt the Games Workshop started to make to distinguish Warhammer 40k from fantasy and Age of Sigmar and all that, is that they started like either adding extra details to each of their groups to make them more dissimilar from each other, or adding in totally new groups. And I guess the Tau were one of those new ones they added in. But that does mean that it happened relatively recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, back in like the year 35,000 and something, we don't know what exactly. Well, for 35,462, we'll go with for a random guess. I don't know. I'm within 500 years of correct, which I would say is pretty good guessing in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Yeah.
Technically not wrong.
Yeah. So when humanity found them, right, they found their like home world, which was just called Tau, right? It wasn't called anything at the time, to be fair, but humanity found this world because they were just like scouting the region to see if there was any planets worthwhile like doing anything with. And they found this one and were like, oh, it could be worth like ransacking the place for resources. Because like had some good minerals and stuff that might be worth stealing, you know? Just hollow the planet out basically. And while they were there doing this like scouting mission thing to see if it was worth ransacking, they found this like tribal alien race. And you gotta remember, because we talked about this back like when we first mentioned the Tau back in like season 2 probably, that for a long time the Tau were split up into like basically different races. So, you know, the Tau has like a caste system, the earth caste, water caste, fire caste, and air caste. And they're all like, it's almost like different races of a species. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the earth caste are usually a bit bulkier and for some reason they do all the engineering. The air caste are usually are really slender and slight and you know, stuff like their pilots and stuff like that. Water caste tend to be quite calm and kind of reserved and stuff. So they do all the diplomacy and trading, things like that, you know? And the fire caste are their warriors. And they all hated each other. Back at this tribal stage, they were all nomadic and they all fucking hated each other.
Of course.
Yeah. So this is kind of the point humanity found them at when they were just kind of handfuls of them all moving around the planet randomly and not really getting anywhere, you know, just trying to survive and not kill each other for 5 minutes. So humanity was like, well, we'll probably just ransack the joint for minerals at some point in the next million years when we get around to it. And then, weirdly, a warp storm opened up shortly after this, before humanity could really do anything with its plan. which isolated that like circle there from the rest of the galaxy. It was like sealed in by a warp storm. So humanity couldn't get anywhere near it, and to be fair, it was never very important because it was just another world to rip minerals out of. So they were just like, meh, whatever, forgot all about it, forgot it ever existed. And that was the case for about 5,000 years. Yeah. And in that 5,000 years...
They developed in those 5,000 years.
They did a lot, primarily because an extra caste of their species came along, which was the Ethereals, who... I'm honestly pretty sure they have some kind of mind control powers, but whatever. They came along and were just better than everyone else and just like made them all work together for the greater good. It was just instant communism, right? Like that's what it was. Like these dudes walk down from the heavens. Were like, guys. Have you read the Communist Manifesto? This dude was onto something, man. Right? That's basically what happened. And just pretty quickly, they were all on the same page, working towards the same goal. And like, can you imagine how quickly a species advances when they're all working towards the same goal? It's insane.
Yep.
Like, so humanity's whole thing, like in our actual lifetime, just talking about like Earth as we know it and like humans as we know them, right? The biggest advancement causing event has always been war, right? Like we learned a lot of stuff because of war, right? And that's a worrying thing because in reality we could get so much more done if we were that level of driven without all the dying. You know what I mean? It's a hell of a motivator war. But these dudes were like, we're going the other way with it. We're going whole left field with this thing. So that's the way it went, was they all kind of got on the same page, and then, they rapidly developed. And soon they were, exploring space, but they had a very limited understanding of space. Like, in terms of scale, not science. I want to make that clear. Because they were sealed in by this warp storm at the time, right?
Yeah.
So that's why all of the planets in that circle are Tau planets, because they just took over every single one of them, because it's all they had access to. But they didn't know there was anything else. They thought the warp storm was like the end of the galaxy. They thought that was just it, right? So it's only after this like 5,000 year period ends and the warp storm like dissipates that they are able to kind of go into the galaxy a little bit. And when they do, they start finding humans, because humans are fucking everywhere, right? We're like cockroaches. So at first, because this area around the Tau Empire, again, it was on the edge of a warp storm, and as much as this whole thing is close to Ultramar, it doesn't mean that like it's actually close in distance. It's relative, you know what I mean? Space is big. So the closest planets are those ones that are at like the kind of northwest of the Tau Empire. And there they started to find these little like backwater settlements of very minor planets of humans and stuff that just weren't really all that bothered about the hating aliens thing, because they've kind of just been left in the Imperium's arse crack to deal with things themselves. So when these really friendly aliens turned up and were like, look, your water's poisonous, can we fix that for you? They were like, what do you want in return? Like, I don't know. A car? Like, I don't fucking know, man. Show us one of your fucking planes, how it works. I don't know.
Some recognition?
Yeah, but spread the good word. Have you heard the good word? So they ended up trading with these little, like, very minor sections of humanity and stuff like that, and getting in pretty good with them. And soon after, these few planets at the kind of north of the Tau Empire actually turned over to joining the Tau. So they abandoned the whole God Emperor ring and were like, Never seen the God Emperor fix my water supply. Fuck you. I'm just gonna follow this blue alien. He's a cool guy. So that's just kind of what they did. They just kind of joined up because the Tau were cool and helped them out, and no one fucking else did. And this is kind of the stage where the Tau start to realize the scale of the galaxy as a whole. Because again, they had thought it was just this little bit, and then suddenly there was more. And then as they start talking to the humans and learning about the Imperium of Man, they realize that this is like 5 worlds on the very arse crack of like a galaxy spanning empire 4,000 times larger than anything the Tau can imagine. And they're like, okay, how should we handle this? And then immediately all of the Firecast are like, war! And all the Watercast are like, no! For the love of God, no!
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if you want to die, like, if you want all of us to die, yes. Otherwise, no! So the Firecast were basically told to go and sit in the corner and take 5. Like, go and have a Kit Kat. You're fucking right. You're not you when you're hungry, right? Go and take 5.
Hamstringers.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Firecast got told to go and sit in the corner and chill out for a minute because they were, freaking everyone out with their determined to murder everyone kind of thing. And the Watercast went, no, diplomacy is the way to go. And they kind of decided to play a long game with this, where they're like, we'll just, like, they haven't done anything yet, and we've already got 5 other planets. So we'll just keep working our way in and spreading, like, diplomacy and kindness and, lead with it with a hand of kindness at every stage. And then once we've taken over a critical mass, we'll just launch all-out war against what's left. This went on for basically like 3 weeks after this point, and then the Imperium found out and were like, absolutely not. But no chance. This launched a crusade called the Damocles Crusade. Mainly because there's an area there called the Damocles Gulf. That section of space. And it was because they were taking over planets in this area. So the Imperium launches a full-on crusade towards the Tau in the Damocles Gulf. The Tau obviously defend themselves and fight back, as you would. This is when the Firecast are like, yay, war!
Give the babies bottle.
Yeah, that's it. They finally got what they wanted, some war. The thing is, right, so the Tau were like massively more prepared for this fight. As much as fighting is the only thing the Imperium does, the Tau were more prepared for this fight, right? It was like the Imperium brought like 20 guys with knives to a fight against like 3 guys with submachine guns, right? Like, the technology was not on their side, but the numbers were. So the Imperium basically just launched wave after wave of their own troops at the Tau, and the Tau just kept shooting back. And because the Imperium is essentially an endless production of soldiers to throw at enemy guns, they were never, like, neither side really had a distinct advantage, right? Because you're like, the Tau can kill, like, 20 times the amount of us that we can, but we've got 4,000 times the amount of troops that they do. But it just kind of led to like a stalemate that was essentially a geyser of blood, right? Everyone was dying, and it didn't seem to be changing anything. Now, eventually, this boiled down to peace talks, mainly because... Well, no, partially because neither side was likely to win anytime soon. Because, like, the Imperium would have had to call in better reinforcements, and by the time they actually got there, it probably would have, everyone would be dead except for 2 guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so that would have been a thing. But the main reason it went to peace talks is because they had better shit to do. Like, both sides had better shit to do.
Yeah.
So... You gotta remember, this is proper 40k era now, right? We're in like the year 41,000 kind of thing, right? When this is going on. So all the threats me and you have talked about up until this point in the modern day are active threats at this point, right? So the galaxy isn't torn in half yet. But, very important thing here, the Tyranids are still around. So there was a Tyranid hive fleet heading this way. So both sides were like, we kind of have better shit to do right now. The Tau also had an oncoming orc army, for the record, which we did mention very briefly in the Gazcool thing, in the Gazcool season, but we didn't really get into it much. We just kind of, as a footnote, we're like, and then this army of orcs went and fucked up the Tau for a while, but it didn't really come in much. It didn't really come in much for the orcs. It came to something for the Tau, though. So at this point, the Imperium and the Tau discuss what they're going to do, and basically both agree to just back the fuck off. Right? The Tau were like, we'll stop trying to recruit your planets, and they were like, cool, we'll stop trying to nuke you. Great. And they both fucked off in different directions back to their home worlds to go and deal with their own problems for a while. Both planning to kill each other at a later date, essentially. Just postponed the fight for a while. So, yeah, the Tau kind of got stabbed in the front and the back. It was kind of like a watch this hand because this hand's going to hit you kind of thing, as the Tyranids and the Orcs both came at them. The Orc thing, like I said, doesn't really come to much. It's kind of dealt with. But it does have some greater ramifications for Tau society afterwards. As far as the Tyranid situation goes, the Tau are actually forced to team up with humanity to kill them. So they actually do fight side by side, basically. Like, the Tau had the equipment and the Imperium had the numbers. So, like, you had guardsmen fighting alongside Tau just to, like, keep a kill zone running with just sheer bullet hell. Like, have you ever seen anyone playing Undertale?
No.
There's like a boss in Undertale called Sans, who is typically a very friendly character, but there is a particular route through the game that makes him like a final boss type thing, and it's meant to be like a genuine achievement as a gamer to be able to complete this fight. Because basically the combat system in it is when the enemy attacks you, you have a little box with a heart in it that you control with your arrow keys, and you've got to dodge shit that's coming towards you. And the things coming towards you are the enemy's attacks, and they take all different patterns and do all crazy shit. And this fight against Sans is just total bullet hell, for lack of a better term. It is astounding how difficult it looks to actually do it. And that's basically what they did to the Tyranids. Just everyone teamed up to just rain as much gunfire at them as is physically possible. You know what I mean? You fire enough bullets, it's basically a wall of death.
I think I just googled it.
Yeah.
Call it the genocide route.
Yeah.
Route.
Yeah.
It just looked kind of crazy. So a little hard and like yeah, just bullets everywhere.
Yeah, that's basically what the Tau and the humanity teamed up to do to the Tyranids.
Holy.
Yeah, so Hive Fleet Gorgon got stomped into the ground by those two. And everyone kind of just moved on with their lives after that. Tau fucked off, and humanity fucked off, and the Tyranids were dead, and everyone was happy. So the other side of this is this issue with orcs, right? And the greater ramifications of it is that the whole orc situation started like a civil war among the Tau. It's called the Great War of Confederation, but there was like a schism in Tau society, and after this war, it's all kind of back together, and everyone's playing Team Communist again. You know? Yeah. There's no more Secret Hitler. It's just Team Communism now. Everyone's good. Secret Hitler is a board game. It was a reference. Not just talking about Hitler for no reason. Anyway, so now that the Tau are all back on the same page, thanks to Orc Invasion, they go back into like an expansive mindset, right? So they have this thing where they refer to like ages of Tau society as spheres of expansion. So yeah. So like the first one, I think, runs from the moment that society is all joined into one to like the space age, and the second one is getting all of those planets in space as they knew it under the same banner, and then Third one is trying to go into Imperial space. I think that's the breakup of it. I'd have to look into it properly. I don't pay a lot of attention to the Tau very often. Like, I did this all at one point, and then I was like, cool, these guys aren't very interesting. They're gonna get better, but like they're really new, so there's not a lot to them yet. Anyway,
Yeah.
so they start off a new sphere of expansion, as they would call it. And I'm going to tell you now, does not go well. They do like another 4 of them here, and none of them go well. So the next one is expanding into Imperial territory. And it is basically about 10 minutes into them trying to do this when the Ultramarines turn up and kick their ass. Because they're like, get the fuck away from our planets.
Yeah.
So then the Tau kind of like reconvene and they're like, all right, let's try again. So they go a different direction. And then the Space Wolves turn up and kick their ass and send them back. So eventually they just kind of give up. And this is primarily because the Imperium keeps turning up at the Damocles Gulf and kicking their asses again and again and again every time they try to expand beyond what they had already conquered. So they're kind of like keep getting pushed back into this little box of space that they've got. It's like humanity's kind of went, we've got a lot going on right now. We don't need to deal with these assholes. We just need to keep them in one area. So they're kind of doing the same thing they did with the Eye of Terror with the Tau Empire, which is just encircle it and never let anything leave.
Well, I'm getting the Simpsons movie vibes right now.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, just glass dome over these fuckers and keep them in there. Yeah, that's
Stay.
that. Aye. that bad Tau. Stay. Spraying them a water bottle and that every time they try to build new technology.
Yeah.
And since that point, the Tau have announced, I think it's 3 more spheres of advancement, or 2 more, and they're planning a 3rd at the moment. None of them really came to anything. The only thing they've really accomplished in any of them, and I say accomplished, even though they did not mean to do this at all, but they did open a wormhole in the middle of space, which is now called the Startide Nexus, which they did not in any way intend to do, but there's a wormhole now. We're going to expand the Tau Empire, rips a hole in the galaxy. Shit! You're going home.
Fuck right.
Yeah. So that's kind of the general concept of what the Tau have been up to in their brief history. Obviously, at some point we can go into proper detail because there's a whole storyline about the War Confederation, and like there's freedom fighters that are battling against the ethereal caste and stuff like that. Like there is a whole storyline with these guys about Commander Shadow Sun and Commander Farsight fighting against each other. Like Farsight goes full AWOL, turns into like a freedom fighter and stuff like that. Like it's a whole thing. It's quite cool, but it's a storyline in itself, and I feel like we should treat it as such. But for the time being, you now know what the deal is with this section of space.
Yeah. Of the
Now,
galaxy.
Yes. But if we go back to it, it's actually not a very big area of space. It's just kind of a little circle over here. But it gives you an idea.
Yeah.
And now we can tick the Tau Empire off the Exploring the Galaxy list.
Yes, sir. So wait,
Yes.
for the remaining, for the people who lasted this long into the episode, what were the options, Ryan, if they had to vote?
So the 2 remaining options, which again will be topped up with additional options the next time we do this. Every episode I'm going to add a few more in so that the options constantly grow. But the 2 remaining ones that have been announced so far are the Pariah Nexus and the Halo Scar. Both very interesting areas. I'm going to tell you now, right? Anyone who votes is voting for the Pariah Nexus because no one likes the storyline about the Halo Scar.
Well, If nobody votes, I guess that's up to me, right?
Yes. I'll tell you now, I love the storyline about the Halo scar, but nobody else likes it. Like, it is widely believed among the Warhammer community to be a terrible storyline. And I love it.
Well,
I'm going to be discredited as a podcast host just for liking that storyline.
I
Like-
mean,
Like, if through some miracle we end up like gaining a bit of traction, you know, people start to know who we are in the Warhammer world and stuff like that. This is what I'll be cancelled for: is the fact that I liked this trilogy of books about the Halo scar. Good. No
well,
thoughts.
do you want me to? Oh, I thought you. Thoughts?
Uh,
I mean, I knew a little bit about the tower before because after we started speaking about it, I was like, I remember where is this from? I've had a whole segment about them, and
Yeah.
because of that technologically advanced, I didn't know much about them being literally the concept of the Simpson movie exposed to that.
Or the
Um,
communism.
or that, but that's important detail.
It's a very important deal because it's their entire culture.
Yeah, but I know that now.
You
I know
do.
that now.
Yeah.
So do you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like your nose glitched through your hand there.
It's good. It's fine. And if anybody's listening right now without watching, please go watch the podcast. It's
Just the first couple of seconds so you can see his nose. Just so you know what's going on. So you can know
So
what
you
I'm
know-
dealing with here.
Did you hear this, Ryan? So you knows what they know. What they
So you knows.
So he knows.
Hey,
Right. I'm gonna wrap this up, Ryan.
go for it.
It's been a while, but let's see if I still remember.
Yeah, see if you can do
Thank you
it.
guys. Thank you guys for listening to this episode or this new segment with bullshit segment. I can see you laughing, Ryan. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next week. Take care and peace.
Bye.